Hey, welcome everyone. Hey, this is a podcast that explores various aspects of addiction, potentially focusing on personal stories of recovery, scientific perspectives, societal impacts, or related topics. This podcast often features discussions with experts, individuals in recovery, therapists, and advocates to offer insights and support to those affected by addiction or seeking more information about it. Are you there, Cindy?
I am. Yep,
Or did I've lost you?
I'm here.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I'm your host, Al Richards, and give me a second because I have got a glitch. For some reason, I don't have my guest up on the screen. She has completely disappeared. I mean, you are totally gone.
Huh, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I can't even get in there to stop the show.
Oh dear.
What the heck? I have never ever had this happen before. This is new.
I'm here. Can
Okay,
you hear
well,
me now?
we're gonna have, can you, I guess you can see me.
I can see you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I just can't see you. I mean,
Here,
like you're gone. You are completely gone.
let me join the
So
live.
go out. I'm gonna try to go into a different screen and I will stop the recording and then we'll just turn around and redo it again.
Okay. See me.
If I
I'm,
could figure out where you're, okay, wait a minute, never mind, I got it,
you got me?
I got you now. All right, sorry about that, folks, that was a new one. So anyway, welcome to another episode of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I am your host, Al Richards, and today with our guest, Cindy Toone, we're going to be talking about how to get the mind and body in a parasympathetic state. Cindy, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on the show. We have been working on getting you on for, I think, 6 months now. So thank you so much for being here.
You're so welcome. Could we, could we maybe we could start by defining what a parasympathetic state is and why it matters.
Yes, please do. Yes.
Okay, so our bodies have an autonomic nervous system, right? The parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous systems are part of the autonomic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the state of fight or flight. And that was what our ancestors generally, they would see a dinosaur or a saber-toothed tiger, they would be in that state, they would get away, and then that state would ebb and they would be able to go back into the parasympathetic state. Let me define the parasympathetic state. The parasympathetic state, if you think of para like a parachute coming down, my daughter taught me this, you can think of that as relaxed, calm, centered, not the total opposite of the sympathetic state. So we often feel that we're in the sympathetic state when we're stressed out, right? And that is our saber-toothed tiger today, is stress. Stress is deadly to the body. And I have found from my experience of being in the holistic healing world for 25 years and my own personal experience, that when we're in the parasympathetic state is when we heal. We cannot heal if we're stressed out of our brains. And often when we're in that sympathetic state, that stressed out state, that's when we turn to addictive behaviors to help us cope. Because it's not fun to have your heart racing, to have stress, to have panic attacks, to have PTSD, to be mad, sad, upset, bipolar. Those are not fun states. And that is when we turn there. So let's talk about today how we can be in that parasympathetic state, that state of calm, so that we don't look to addictive behaviors. We don't look to coping mechanisms because we are calm. We are in a place of balance and state. That work?
Okay. Yeah, and before we go there though, Cindy, um, I mean, I know we don't want to get ourselves to a point where we are very stressed out about life. And life is crazy right now. I mean, seriously, the majority of Americans don't have a clue where our country's headed. Right now, it doesn't look like it's headed in the right direction. And there's a lot of fear, a lot of things going on. However, I believe God gave us all these feelings for a purpose, right? I mean, we have our sadness, we have our anger, we have our depression, different things. My version is I think it's okay for us to sit in those, to allow ourselves to feel those feelings. However, not stay stuck to where we are getting into this state to where now we're starting to cause inner damage to the inside of us, because it creates ulcers, heart issues, diabetes, cancer, and all that. So I hope our listeners understand it's not that what Cindy's saying is society's already telling us we're not allowed to feel our feelings. That's BS. We are allowed to feel our feelings. However, what Cindy's going to share, there are other resources out there to kind of help us deal with our feelings. Just we can still soak in our feelings and still feel these feelings. However, what she's about to share is going to help us, especially if it's something real traumatic, correct?
Right, right.
Okay.
And I think it's huge to feel our feelings because that's where we get a lot of these ulcers and physical ailments. There are books written on the body keeps the score. If we don't release those feelings, if we don't address those feelings, the body pays the price, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to address those feelings. Yeah.
Amen. Okay, I'll let you do your stuff here then.
I love this. So I'll just start out by saying, as a child, I was abused. And as a child experiencing that, I consequently developed addictions. And they were mechanisms for dealing with the feeling of feeling less than, the feeling that my worth was determined by my work. And so I developed coping mechanisms of workaholism. And just feeling like I always had to push myself. I had to push through, no, regardless what was going on, I had to produce. Um, People couldn't see this addiction, but I think my message today is that I think most people these days have some form of addiction, right? It's just that you probably can't see my addiction and know that I tend to work too hard and too fast and push myself too much, right? Whereas others we can taste or hear or smell, but it is a real thing. And so as we see how that impacts us, some of the things I've learned that it is key to address what's going on, see what the root causes of things. You know, for me to look back now as an adult and say, I made the wrong decision. I am worth being just because I am alive. I don't have to prove myself. So, but to reach that point, you do need to have address the feelings and be in a state where you can think clearly enough, work through those feelings, and decide some of those issues, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Matter of
So
fact, we talked a little bit about that on the first show today about not giving our pieces of our puzzle away to other individuals.
yeah, yeah. Consequently, my whole workaholism and always pushing and pushing through and stuff, I started having real health challenges just because, like we were saying, the body keeps the score, right? So I tried for years going to doctors, and to me, it felt like a band-aid. I didn't feel like they were addressing maybe the symptoms of the different illnesses, but they weren't really addressing to me what seemed like the root cause. And that's how I started exploring the alternative natural world and how I could get healthy again, um, by finding the root cause and addressing that. So in mind and body recovery, which is what we'd like to talk to today, I have seen myself. I'd like to discuss and tell a story about my sweet niece. And then we own a wellness center in Bountiful, and we have seen hundreds of people be able to heal because the body wants to heal. If it's put in the right environment, the body will heal. That's what it was designed to do. So, if that's okay, so we talked about the parasympathetic state, right? That's ultimately where the body can heal. If we're stressed out, the body cannot heal there. So maybe let's talk about frequencies. The simple definition of frequencies is a wave. It is an energy. And so today I'm going to propose that everything is a frequency. Everything is a wave, right?
Everything puts off energy.
Exactly. So would you think that grass would have a frequency?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. And we're going to talk about grounding a little bit if we have time and how to do that. How about water?
Absolutely.
Yes. Sound?
Yes.
Emotion?
Yes.
Totally, right? So I don't think it's a stretch to say that our bodies, our minds, our souls, are frequencies. So just like tuning the radio, remember when we had the radios, we had to find the right channel, we had to tune in and find it exactly. Our bodies were born perfectly with a perfect blueprint. But as we progress through life, as we have things happen, and maybe we're abused, maybe we reach some wrong conclusions, maybe we turn to addictive behaviors or substances to help with that, we have some bumps, right? And so as we get out of that perfect blueprint, our body, those frequencies are maladjusted. It's like being out of tune, right? Like when you hear the piano that needs to be tuned or whatever, our bodies can get out of tune. And when we're in that state, that's where we experience disease, stress, maybe some addictive behavior, right? Because we're in that state. We are composed of atoms, right? Every cell in our body has atoms, and those atoms actually vibrate. They have a frequency or energy. The healthy millivoltage of a healthy cell is 70 to 90 millivolts. So if we can find the secret to keep those cells charged at that optimal level, that's where we're going to see true healing. For instance, cancer cells, their frequency is 20 millivolts. Yeah, right? So it's like charging the cells of our cell phone. We have a way now that we can charge the cells of our bodies. And also be in a parasympathetic state. So it's a win-win deal. Albert Einstein is reported to have said, the future of medicine is medicine in the form of frequencies.
Yeah. He had it way back then. He probably said that in the 1950s, 1940s.
Yeah.
He had it all figured out, and he's 100% correct, because we're actually now starting to see more of this starting to happen.
Yes. And Tesla said, to understand the universe, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's totally what we're talking about today. So today, to help us get into that healing state, I would like to introduce you and your listeners to scalar wave therapy. Have you heard of that, Al?
Scalar wave? Yes, I have.
And how's that?
What do you mean, how is it?
Is that something you learned from me or somebody else?
No, it's from you and from other people, because again, this is the holistic stuff, and a lot of this new health stuff you're starting to see more and more of it, and it seems like whenever I go to either a health fair or something like that, somebody is there promoting exactly that, because they're seeing the difference. It's making a change in people's lives.
Yeah.
And it's doing it in a healthy way, not an unhealthy way, which we won't go into that because I could get onto a rampage with that one.
Yep. So So I'll introduce you to a couple of things. First of all, let's talk about what is a scalar wave. Okay.
Okay.
So the good Lord invented and put on the earth natural scalar waves. Natural scalar waves are found on beaches. They're found in the redwoods. They're found in the Amazon, in the rainforest. They're found on waterfronts. That's why we love to be outside, right? We feel calm. We feel rejuvenated when we've been outside, have some sun on our skin. So I am actually, and those are great. I would highly advise get outside, get in those places as much as humanly possible, right? The reality is we also have to live life, and sometimes we don't have the time to be able to do that, but we should, right? But I am actually sitting in a scalar wave field right now. So I wanted to record from our scalar wave field. The inventor it's called scalar wave therapy or an energy enhancement center. We also call it EES, energy enhancement system. And Al's been out to our system.
Yep, I have.
Yeah. And what did you feel?
You know, really, you don't feel anything in all honesty, except when, if you get yourself in the mind state, because when I've gone to other places and have done this, I like to put my earbuds in and I like to play some brainwave entrainment music to kind of help calm me and get me in the mood. When I was at your facility, you guys have that machine that records your voice and takes the energy and the different and the tones that comes from your own voice, your own DNA, and you put it into a recording. And I remember going into the room and putting the headphones on, if I remember right, it was the headphones, and just chilling in the room listening to that. And I'm not one that really takes naps. However, it did really put me in a very calm state where my eyes were getting pretty heavy. And it's because I was just chilling so much. And I know my body was repairing being inside that room without me even feeling it. Because it's proven fact when someone comes out of a room like what you're talking about, if you check the blood before and check the blood after, the blood is totally different.
Right.
It's healthier.
Right. Yes. The blood before is kind of sticky, slow moving, and the cells are kind of misshapen. After the blood is free flowing and the cells are nice and round. They've actually taken blood before and after. They've also done things like they have done EEGs. And let me find where I have that. I'm jumping way ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So while you're looking for that, so to the listeners, you see these TVs in the background. It looks like a bunch of static and a gibberish going on. I mean, like back in the old days where you have to adjust your antenna. This is exactly what's going on with these TVs is they are throwing out a ton of energy out into this room, and your body absorbs all this energy. And I know some of the places that I've been at, they've had a copper pin in the middle of the room where all these TVs are going to the center of that. And then when all that energy hits the middle of this room with that copper pin, it explodes in tinier particles and your body absorbs even more of it.
The screens are throwing photons, which is light therapy.
Okay.
They collide in the center of the room, and that collision is what creates the scalar field. So, yeah,
Got it.
Pretty remarkable. So I wanted to read what we were talking about, kind of evidence of what happens when you're in a scalar field in an EES system. Dr. Victor Marcel Vega, quote, I have actual brain wave measurements of patients before and after they go into the chamber, which are very impressive. EEGs show that after the patient has been in the chamber for 1/2 hour, there is more symmetry between the right and the left brains, sides of the brain. The areas of the brain responsible for love, peace, joy, and meditation are more lit. So does it stand to reason that if our brains are lit with peace and joy and love, that we can be in that state? I'd like to share with you a little bit about my little niece. Could I do that?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. So I have a beautiful little niece, and in 2018, my husband and I discovered her, found her living out in a different state in a trailer with no water, no electricity. No, she had water. She didn't have electricity or gas, and she was very inebriated. She has a history of alcoholism. So we brought her to our home because I had received my mom in 2017 to care for with advanced Alzheimer's. We also had my daughter, who was newly divorced, with her 3 children living with us. And so one night, Cherise was going to want to help care for her grandmother, who had very many ways raised her, and she was very close to her. One night, my daughter came home and discovered Cherise was passed out, drunk. So we had to have a come to Jesus talk where they're going to say, we have a 88-year-old woman living here and children, and if you're going to live here, you cannot be doing that, right? So I am so proud of her. She cleaned up. She went to AA. She went on the sober train, and I am so proud of her. But I did want to share, she still had dealt with panic attacks, PTSD, depression, and anxiety. She dealt with that a lot. And so in 2023, February of 2023, we actually had these screens installed in our basement because our center wasn't ready yet. And so bless her heart, she would call or text and say, can I come sleep in the waves? She would sleep in our basement. But I actually do have a video of her, but we typed it out too. And this is what she said. She said, I have stayed a few overnights here. I have insomnia, and I usually am used to about 2 to 4 hours of sleep a night for years. And I slept through the entire night, each time, 8 hours. And that is just very revolutionary for me.
I love it.
Yeah, and it helped her to be able to cope without having to turn to her addictions. Helped her be and function so well. So I'm so proud of her, and I love her so much. So we talked a little bit about that. Also, interestingly enough, our body's first go-to thing when we're healing is to detox, right? 2 things the body wants to do to heal. It wants to be in that parasympathetic, that calm state, which this helps us be in, right? But then these towers are actually sending communication directly to our cells of our bodies, charging the bodies so that they're at that optimal millivolt between 70 and 90, right? So with that cellular communication, we are able to have the energy to begin the detox process. And that was huge for her as well. Because when we have partaken of, and we live in a toxic soup, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Just living where we live and partaking what we take and heavy metals and the food. And when we're there, we need to detox. So that is a great benefit of the energy enhancement system as well. So, and that's what the blood is showing, the blood studies you were referring to. It's showing that in the blood, that the actual blood is detox. It's carrying out the toxins from the body.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So what I would kind of like to do, if it's okay, is to maybe, well, first of all, let me invite everyone to come try this, okay? I would love to have you in here and see what kind of, how you feel, like Al did. It's extremely calming. But I do want to give you some coping skills that you can try at home. So please do try these at home, okay? So things that can help you be in that parasympathetic state. And one is breath work. So there are lots of, and all you need is your lungs, right? All you need to do is to breathe. So there are lots of YouTube videos on breath work. We actually have breath work classes and events at our center. You can find them. They're very popular. And it's because they help us to heal. So if it's okay, I'd like to teach you the vagus nerve breathing technique. So our vagus nerve actually runs the length of our body. The parasympathetic nervous state actually governs the vagus nerve. So we're in that state, then the vagus nerve is able to stimulate the sensory motor part of the brain, and that triggers neurotransmitters. So this practice basically, in essence, triggers that parasympathetic state. So how it works is this. You want to breathe in deeply, and you want to breathe in for the count of 5. Hold the count for the count of 6, and then breathe out. So you breathe in through your nose deeply, and then hold it for the count of 6, and then release it through your mouth, the count of 7. So all you have to really remember with this is 5, 6, 7. And I love doing this. It's so calming. You can do it anywhere, anytime if you're feeling a little stressed. It's amazing. So maybe what we'll do is we'll demonstrate this, and then maybe I'll count and Al can breathe.
I was just doing it. Oh, I love breath work. I actually go to a breath work class every month.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's big, it's huge. But this is specifically to get us in that parasympathetic state, because you can do breath work that's going to bring in oxygen and really charge you and really energize you. But for when we're in that sympathetic state, the stressed out, the fight or flight state, this is something that can calm us and get us into that state. So let's try it. So we're going to breathe in the count of 5, hold the count of 6, breathe out through the mouth, the count of 7. Okay, so here we go. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and in through the nose. Exactly. How did you feel with just one time? Did you feel a difference?
Oh yeah, you can definitely feel the difference. Breathing helps, especially in stressful moments. I mean, it really, really does. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I actually will do this when I'm falling asleep at night, or if I wake in the night, because it's so calming. So if you've had an argument with somebody, you're in that stressed out brain, this is a way to get us into the parasympathetic state.
Yeah.
So,
and to pause you just for a second, Cindy, just so that people can understand, this breathing, what Cindy is teaching you guys is seriously very important. Because let's say you had a hard day at work and you get in your car and then you're dealing with traffic. And of course, traffic here in Salt Lake has just gotten crazier. And all it takes is one little person to cut in front of you to set you off. When you get into that state, to do this breath work that you can literally do in your car, anywhere that you're at, the calmness that comes over you, and it helps. And if you've ever been to a park and you've watched ducks, and you've watched a duck go and attack another duck, and you'll see the one duck that's getting attacked fly off a little ways, land in the water, flaps its wings, quacking like crazy, shakes everything off, and then just goes around floating like nothing ever happened. That's exactly what the duck is doing, just in their way. Our way is to do the breath work, and it does the exact same thing, where it calms us right back down to go on with our day without throwing a fit, unless
right.
I'm mistaken.
Yeah, no. And that's the difference between an animal and a human. An animal can be in a chase by that saber-toothed tiger, in danger, fighting with another duck, whatever, and it will automatically go into that sympathetic state, which was designed to save our lives. It gives us the power. The blood goes to the feet, goes to the legs, so that we can run fast and we can get out of the situation, right? But animals will immediately go back to that parasympathetic state. And we sometimes get stuck in it. So, yeah, that's my hope for today, is that we can have some techniques to teach you to get water off that duck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that is great, we talked about how sound has frequencies, and we love music, right? Music is sound, it's frequencies. So we have sound baths at our center. And I don't know, have you experienced a sound bath now?
Yes, matter of fact, right after our breathwork class, we do a sound bath, which really puts you in a whole different state.
Yep. Yep. Yep, we have those regularly. But if you want to do this at home, that's my intention, is to give you some tips and tricks that you can do to calm that parasympathetic state. You can find sound baths on YouTube, right?
Mhm.
You can find on YouTube Tibetan singing bowls and play those, and they're very calming. I've done that in the past. It's really calming. So sound music, gentle music. Al mentioned we do have at our center something called an AO scanner, and it actually, you speak into it, records your voice. It analyzes with a computer what frequencies are in your voice, what emotions you're experiencing, and then imprints into music healing tones to heal. So music can be so helpful. So, yeah, I'd like to just share with you some herbal formulas if we could. Want to jump on that? Some things that would
Sure.
help. Okay. So, some of the things that help me are tinctures help a lot because they're immediately absorbed by the body versus a capsule. But some people love capsules and don't want to do tinctures, so do what works. This is the valerian root, and it helps me. I put it in my drink with my electrolytes, and it does really help calm me down. I take it at night before I go to bed. There's kava kava, there's St. John's wort, and any great health food store is going to be able to guide you to some tinctures that would help to calm the nervous system. So another thing is our bodies need vitamin B. If you get a really good multivitamin, they will generally have high doses of complex B vitamins, which is really great for the body. This is a specific B12, which when I'm feeling a little stressed, I will sometimes take that. But make sure you do take a very good multi with vitamin Bs. And then lastly, amino acids are really important for the body, and they do help a lot with the stress response. This is tryptophan. We also, another amino acid is GABA, which is very calming, and 5-HTP. So if you want to go to a health food store or look on Amazon, these things may be useful to you. I like to take tryptophan at night before I go to sleep. Tryptophan is in turkey, and that's why we feel sleepy on Thanksgiving Day, right? Because we've just eaten a whole bunch of tryptophan.
Yep.
So those are things that you can do and find. Any questions on that, Al? Any thoughts? Have you tried any of those?
Yes, as a matter of fact, years ago when I was bodybuilding and competing in bodybuilding, I took a lot of tryptophan. Because and there's different types of amino acids, right? There's the type like the BCAAs, that help with lifting and things like that. And there's other also types of amino acids that really help the body in a totally different way. And you can actually go have readings done to check to see where your amino acid levels are at. Because when you have really good amino acid levels in your body and in your system, it helps with, like what Cindy was saying, it helps with your stress level, it helps with your sleep, your all around mood. I mean, completely changes.
Yeah, yeah, right. We have so many resources, right?
Hmm.
And we need them. We really do.
Yes. Well, what's great about what REENEW Wellness is doing and other organizations, other places out there, they're starting to bring back the old medicine where we lost that, right? The pharmaceuticals came in and started doing synthetic type things. Now, I'm not knocking all of them because there are certain medications out there that people really do need. And it's helping them survive and it's helping them live a decent life. However, there's also lots of them out there that basically they're just poisoning us even more.
Right.
And to see how the world's, or at least here in America, how we're starting to see more of the holistic and more of the healthy stuff come into play. Because if I lived back in the medieval days, or even the Native Americans and stuff, I just couldn't jump on my horse and ride to the nearest pharmacy or the nearest doctor to get a prescription to take a pill. It was all
Right.
done with herbs and roots and grasses, and it helped them for, I mean, it helped them with so many health issues, and it's really good to start seeing a lot of this stuff come back. Now, what's really made it truly amazing is the advancement in science and understanding our bodies and our DNA and the way everything works more now, to where the technology, like with like what's behind you and some of the other stuff you have there, that just is another added bonus. Because you said it earlier, Cindy, our bodies are freaking amazing machines and they are designed to heal themselves as long as we can do it before things get way too far out, right? I mean, if you smell your toast burning, you can hurry and pop the toaster up before it burns all the way. Once it's burned all the way, it's pretty much burnt all the way.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see more people starting to move in this direction, because seriously, this is a much healthier way of taking care of our bodies and also just living an all-round better life.
Yep. For sure. And these screens, the EES systems they've done studies and they've actually shown that they lengthen the telomeres and repair DNA. You were speaking about DNA. So,
Yeah.
that's pretty fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. So can you go get off the door? I think you want to paint one of those little pictures and off the palette. I forgot to get a thing, but I've got my beautiful daughter here, so I
Okay.
wanted to just a couple of other things. So let me, while we're thinking about it, let me tell you about another thing that I have. I don't know if you can see. This is an app that you can actually get and you can try for 2 weeks. It's called Brain Tap.
Brain
And
cap.
Tap, T-A-P.
Oh,
Brain Tap.
tap. Okay. Okay.
T-A-P. So braintap.com. If you go there, you can try it for 14 days. And then if you like it, you can put the app on your phone, and then it's $30 a month. And I am so impressed with this. This is where I learned the vagus nerve breathing, was on this app. And so if you love it, they actually have a helmet you can get, and it has sound and light therapy. And so what it's totally designed to do is to help the brain to heal and have the body be in the parasympathetic state, because the brain is calm, right? The brain governs the body. So that has been, I have loved this, and it has meditations, it has breath work, it has sound work, but it has a 21-day brain reset. So if you're feeling like you need some help, it has all kinds of categories that are great. Let me just read you some of them. It does have addiction and recovery. So it has programs for that. It has, let's see, audiobooks on success that you can listen to it. Brain training, breath work, business, children, all kinds of things. So you might just want to check that out. I am loving it. And I'm loving the breath work. I do, when I wake up in the morning, I put my helmet on. It actually has lights that stimulate the ears, because our ears actually have correlate to parts of our body, right? And it's called auricular therapy. So it's stimulation of those nerves in our ears. So it has auricular therapy and also light therapy, because they have lights. You close your eyes and they have different lights, and then you can hear the sound, and they have embedded into it sounds and background sounds that are designed to heal the brain. So
That's
that's been,
wow, pretty
yeah,
cool.
been super cool for me. So let's talk maybe a little bit. We talked about if grass had a frequency. So let's talk about grounding. Have you ever done grounding workout?
Yes, I've been waiting for the weather to warm up so I can take my shoes off. And my grandkids just finished soccer, and of course we had a lot of soccer nights that was really chilly. However, the ones that wasn't so chilly, I wore my flip-flops so I could do exactly, I think, what you're going to explain. So I could take my shoes off and just put my feet in the grass and on the ground, rub them together, wiggle my feet on the ground to get that grounding, because Mother Earth is giving us all this stuff that we can't see. So yes.
Yes. Yeah. The earth has a frequency, right?
Mhm.
And we need
Constant.
to be grounded to the earth. That's why astronauts struggle, because they're out of the atmosphere. They have a lot of health conditions because they are not grounded to the earth. They're not receiving that frequency, that energy from the earth. And that may sound a little weird to people, but try it. So now that it's getting warm enough outside, go outside. I try and go outside every day, take my shoes off if it's warm enough. I take my shoes off and sit in the grass, maybe read a book, do some exercising, do some gardening. Let's talk about water.
Okay.
Water have a frequency?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Have you ever done a float spa?
No, that is one that I have not done yet, but I have been invited to one though here just recently. I went to an event and they did invite me to something like that. Yes.
Yes, it's amazing. There's one here in Bountiful, and I went to it not long ago, and he comes to our center and loves it, and we love his. And so you're just in this little pod, and just you, and they have it salty enough, but it doesn't like crust on your skin or anything, that you can just lay there and just relax.
You just float, huh? Without
Just,
even doing anything, you just float.
yeah. And I think that's key. I think that is, we are too busy. Our minds are too busy, right? Squirrel brain, right?
Mhm.
And we just need to take a chill pill, right? Because we need to do that to be in the parasympathetic state. So I'm going to challenge all of us, including me, to daily take some time, get outside, get your feet in the grass, and just sit and soak in nature and love. You will feel those scalar waves. Or, come to our center. There's 3 in the state. We're the most northern one. Come to our center, bask in the scalar waves. Do whatever you need to do to connect with yourself, to ground yourself, and so that you can have that parasympathetic state regularly. I mean, it happens. We get in traffic, right? Somebody cuts us off. We can go into that sympathetic state. But the trick is to get back into the parasympathetic state. So use some of these techniques, ground, do some breath work, do some sound bath, exercise too, right? You should know all about that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And another thing that helps too is tapping. There are certain nerves in certain areas, like between your eyes and back here, and tapping really, really helps. That's kind of really where I started. Is I went to a tapping class, and at first I thought, yeah, this is a little freaking out there. This is no way. However, I continued to go, learned a little bit more, and it has been very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. We actually have, I believe it's 11 practitioners at our center. So, and we just schedule, you just call, make an appointment with them. And so one of them is an emotional freedom technique coach. and she teaches tapping. That's what she does.
Yeah. Very
So
helpful.
yeah. And so besides these that we're talking about, you can also look to practitioners to help you, right? Get into that parasympathetic state, get into that calming state. Some of the different ones that are at our center, and I'm sure there's more besides these, we have a massage therapist, and that's totally relaxing, right?
Yep.
Have you ever had a foot zone, Al?
I've had the foot soak before.
Okay. You need to come have a foot zone in our EE room. We have a young man who is amazing. And so the bottoms of your feet, have you heard of reflexology?
I have not.
Okay, so the bottoms of your feet, each spot on your foot corresponds to an organ of your body.
That I've
And
heard of.
okay, so a trained foot zoner can feel, and in a certain spot, if it feels crunchy to them, they can work that, they can massage that. It doesn't hurt. And it helps that corresponding organ in your body.
So basically, he's opening up the nerves. It's like a pinch hose, and he's just opening it up some more.
Yeah, yeah. And he does it in our EE center, and every single person who has that is like fast asleep because it's so calming.
I would be one of those because I love having my feet massaged because I'm on my feet most of the day and I do hard labor construction stuff, and especially on days when we're tearing out a driveway and you're walking over broken up concrete and different things like that. Yes, it doesn't take me long. You start massaging my feet,
You're
I
out.
yeah, I turn into mush.
Oh, come. TJ would love to give you a foot zone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about another thing that we have at our center is called ionic foot bath. And that may be what you had.
Yes, that's what I had, where it takes the toxins and everything out,
Yes.
and your water turns a gross
Yes.
looking nasty color. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And the nasty color depends on what organ, what you're detoxing, right?
Mhm.
So we just had a lady in here and her water was orange, which is joints, and then it went into brown, which is liver. So the liver was cleaning. And the liver is such a huge part of our whole body. It does so much detoxing for us, right?
Yes.
So yeah, we actually also, you might kind of want to consider to be in that parasympathetic state, get the help you need, hypnotherapy. We have a hypnotherapist associated with our center. I don't know, have you ever had Reiki? Have
Yes,
you
I
ever had?
have. Yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah, we do have Reiki masters at our center. And have you done aromatherapy or essential oils?
I've used oils, but not as far as like a therapist working with me though, but I have used them before, yes.
So we have an aromatherapy expert as well, and she can teach you what oils to use for what, where to put it, let you smell different oil, teach you all about oils. And we also have a mental health counselor at our center. And my daughter, maybe she can stick her face in, I don't know if she will. She's sitting right here by me. She is our nutrition and exercise coach. So those are all things you can do, and they're going to help the body to be calm so the body can do what we're saying it loves to do, is to heal. That is what it does the very, very best.
Yeah.
So I
And
would love
to let our listeners know too, and Cindy mentioned it here just a little bit ago. We live in a bowl here in Salt Lake City, especially for those who maybe have never been to Salt Lake. We live in a bowl. We've got beautiful mountains on each side of us, to the east and to the west, and we've got the Great Salt Lake that is not as full as it used to be, and it's drying up. There's a lot of toxins and different things out there when the wind blows, plus whatever we're breathing through, stuff from pollutants from vehicles and stuff. In our homes, we are breathing chemicals all day long in our homes, especially if you have cleaning supplies. Even though they're under your sink, you are still actually breathing these toxins. Guys, we're filling ourselves with poisons every single day. It's in our foods, it's in certain beverages. That's pretty much why I drink special water every single day. I don't even drink water from a tap.
right.
our bodies are getting filled with toxins constantly, 24 hours, 7 days a week. To be able to have a place like REENEW Wellness and other places out there that are closer to your home or the other side of the valley, it's good to check these places out because it really will help your health. Because especially with detoxing, I mean, we've got to get these toxins out of us because again, that's going to create issues for us as well. And then we add stress and anger on top of it. Man, we're a boiler baker. We're just getting ready to implode.
Right. That's called the sympathetic nervous state.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Right, right. Yeah. I would like to invite everybody to come to our center on June 8th. We are going to be having classes. We'll have 7 different classes, and they'll be presented by experts in holistic healing. We'll have a presentation on the brain. We'll have a presentation on how to determine what nutrition or supplements you need, and a little bit of coaching on essential oils. We'll have, I will present on frequency-based healing modalities. We will have, just every hour on the hour, we have 6, 7 different speakers that will be coming and addressing that. We'll have, and that will be a huge educational. So if you want to learn about education, we are also starting classes at our center where you can come learn about different holistic things. So if you want to come learn about breath work or about how to detox or how essential oils can help or how you can retrain the brain, those are all things that we'll be discussing on June 8th, but we will also have regular, if it doesn't work for you, we'll have regular classes to help us because you're right, Al. Medicine is great and some people really do need it, but medicine was actually derived from plant sources. So
Yeah.
for instance, they took the bark of a white willow tree, and which people used to chew the inside of that bark and it would help with pain. And that's what they make aspirin. They based aspirin on that, right? On that, but it's actually pretty chemical now, right? I don't think it has any white willow bark in it at all. So,
Probably not.
yeah. So to me, if it's chemical, I don't think my body is going to assimilate that like it would a food source, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So on your June 8th, you got the 7 classes in the holistic healing. Is this a free event for people to go to or?
Yeah. In fact, for your listeners, what I am going to offer today is that will be free. And then also, anytime you want to come to our center, your first visit, if your listeners, if they just use the code recovery, we're going to give them 50% off all of our services that they want to try that day, plus, except for thermography. We do have a thermography camera here, and that's, so we do everything except for that. So 50% off if they come in. And yes, on June 8th, come, and we'll start at 10 o'clock in the morning and go till 7 o'clock at night. We will have tons of practitioners and people in the natural health world at our center teaching you and seeing what they can do to help you. And you can learn about all kinds of different things. Besides the classes, we'll have the different vendors and people. So
Okay. I'm glad I've got that. And just to be safe, to make sure I get all that information after the show, if you would send me an email with all that information on there, just to make sure I'm not missing something. I do have it written down because I want to make sure I put it on the caption and in the notes, especially when I promote the show on social media. I'd like to have that stuff on there.
thanks. We'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah.
What else would you like to share, Cindy?
Well, we have a couple of other modalities that people are finding really helpful at the center, and that may help people to heal. One of the modalities we have is an acoustic light wave machine. There was a Dr. Rife who his whole theory was everything has a frequency. If you know the frequency of something, you can raise that frequency. Conversely, if you know the frequency of something, you can lower that frequency, right? So he programmed 2,000 frequencies into his device. We have a device that has those same 2,000 frequencies, and it also has light therapy. So it's an acoustic light wave machine. And we actually are seeing wonderful results. Just before the show, I was talking to a lady who last week sat in the EE Center with acoustic light wave because it targets a specific thing, right? Whereas the EE Center works on telomeres, works on DNA, works on putting the body, and the body chooses what to heal. But when we run the acoustic light wave machine, we can choose a program. So she had Reniere's disease, and her left ear, she had vertigo for years, ringing in the ear, and her ear hurt. We ran it for 2 hours, and I was just talking to her just before the show. I said, how's your ear? And because she said, I could feel after about an hour energy moving like this and into my ear. And after a while, I could feel my lymph opening and draining. So, and just before the show, I said, so how's your ear? She said, it's really better. My vertigo is almost gone, if I'm remembering correctly, is what she said. But she said the surprising thing is my eyes are much better. Fantastically, so much better.
Wow. Awesome.
So that is a cool thing. But we do have on the acoustic lightwave machine, there is a program for alcoholism. So there is that. I did want to mention that. We also have some other frequency-based modalities, such as the beamer.
I was just going to ask if you still had the beamer.
We do. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have pain in your body, you likely do not have enough blood flow to the site. So what the beamer does is it sends a signal. It's all, again, frequencies, right? Einstein was so right, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was. Brilliant man.
Yes. So it sends a frequency to the microcapillaries. They kind of have a squeezing motion, right? And so with that signal, the microcapillaries very safely that squeezing motion increases by up to 30% in 8 minutes. And so what that does is it brings more oxygen and nutrition into the cell and removes more metabolic waste. And so it really does help if you have pain, helps with cognition. I used to beamer my mother's head, and it was helpful. Yeah. Wow. So there is that. We also, this is a picture of thermography, which is very useful for those people out there that maybe don't want to have radiation. Okay. So the root word of thermography is thermal heat imaging. And so this is a picture of a gal. Red, white, and yellow are inflammatory. Blue and green are not inflammatory. So this is a picture of a gal of her head before she came and spent 2 hours in the Energy Enhancement Center. And this is 2 hours after. You see a difference?
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the EE system really does help with inflammation. Well, one thing I want to suggest is if you're looking to heal and be healthy, you might want to consider thermography. For instance, I actually had a breast thermography done about 2 months ago, and the left breast was fine. The right breast, we actually send them to a doctor. He evaluates them and sends the client a report. And the report said, and I could see on the thermography, some yellow, which is inflammatory, right? So we want to look at things before they happen is the object here, right? Let's be proactive. So from that report, I went, because it said 6 months, let's look at this again, because there is some inflammation. So I am now doing castor oil packs every night on my breasts, and they're much less dense. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in 6 months, but what a blessing to be able to say, this is what's going on in the body, and we can do whole body, we can do upper body, we can do lower body. This is what's going on, so let me act now so that I can do what I need to do to heal that before the toast is burnt.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Because, well, and that's what it's all about, right? Is catching it sooner than later. And it's great that they have these type of machines out there in these to help spot this. I was just at a wellness event Wednesday night, I believe it was. Yeah, and there was a lady there that does something like that where they have the imaging. And she
Yeah,
was talking about that there's certain infections that women can get in their jaws, in their teeth, without them even knowing it, because it doesn't hurt, and it releases a toxin and it goes down into their neck into the breast, which also causes breast cancer. And I was
right,
just like in awe. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is the first I've ever heard about this.
right,
When they can see it, then they know exactly what they need to do to help get a detox to get rid of that, to where it lessens the chance.
right. Yeah, the gal who actually trained me with thermography, she said I have an infected tooth, and we could see. She put the camera on her. We could see white on her lower, and then we could see following the lymph tract down the lymph and into her breast.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's crazy.
yeah. What a way to know before the toast is burned, right?
Yeah. And I want to throw something out there too about the EES. So there was a place here, they've had to shut their doors, which I'm really sad to hear, because I really enjoyed going there. They would hold a class there. So one of the gentlemen's would hold a class at this place, a recovery. It's all based about the addiction. This gentleman was diagnosed with a form of a cancer. Well,
Yeah,
without him even knowing it, twice a week he's in this facility with TV screens, just like you have behind you, in this room, and they're going on all the time. And he's teaching this class. He went back for his appointment, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing." It had started shrinking.
right.
And he went, with, again, without him even knowing it, still going into these rooms teaching this class. When he went back again, it was completely gone. Now,
Right.
I know, as far as, you guys have to be careful what you say. You can't claim that it does cure and this, because there are certain stipulations and things. However, when you're hearing it from individuals that have lived it and still living it to this day, I mean, he's gotten back for another checkup. He's been cancer free for, I think, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not wrong. It's been at least a year or two that he's been completely cancer free. And it finally dawned on him. The only thing he did different was he was teaching this class in a room that had screens. They had something like 20 screens, like what's
Right.
behind you.
Yep. Yep. That was Todd Hull. And
Todd,
in,
yes, you know Todd, yes. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, a great guy. Yeah, 24 screens. That's where he was. They actually did have helped a whole lot of people in recovery through the EE systems.
yeah,
And it is a viable offer and option for those in recovery.
yes, it is. Janie Marvin was starting it, and she's the late Janie Marvin. I miss her. I love that woman to death. She was an amazing individual, and that's what she wanted to do, just like what you guys are wanting to do, just to help as many people as possible.
Right. We really feel that it is our God-given calling to have this center and to help people, and also to love them.
Yeah.
We
Well,
want
we
them
all
to,
need more love.
yeah,
The whole
that
world
is,
needs more love.
yeah, to be loved, to be safe, and to be able to have the body do what it does best and to heal.
Yeah. Because when God designed us, he didn't design a flaw.
Right,
I mean, he got us pretty, I think he got us spot on. We're pretty perfect. Yeah.
right, right. We just get some bumps along the road, right? And that's how we get out of frequency, out of tune a little
Yeah.
bit, right? That's why if we can employ, we have so many, we're so blessed to have all these different options, right? All these frequency-based healing modalities, practitioners who do work that can help us, supplements that can help. We're so blessed. It's just knowing where to turn. Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. That's
Yeah.
why I think it would really benefit coming to our June 8th event, because there'll be so many people here that can help educate. Because
Yeah.
that's key. And I feel like that's a lot of our role, is to educate people and say, okay, these are some things that you can choose to do.
Absolutely. Cindy, gosh, we've been going an hour. I mean, yeah. How is there any last words that you would like to share with our listeners? Any words of inspiration or just anything about your center?
I think that people need to know that they matter, that they are loved, and that you need to do whatever you need to do to care for yourself, to get yourself in the state where you can heal because you are loved and you are precious.
Very well said. And love yourself. As you
Yep,
love yourself, you can spread more love because you got to have it inside here first.
yep.
Yeah.
So true. So true.
Awesome. Cindy, thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally was able to put all this together. And sometimes I wonder, and then I'm like, it's God's timing. When it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. And it finally happened. We've been working on this again for a long time. And
Yep.
and I'm glad. As a matter of fact, my guest this morning, I mean, we had been talking for, I think, almost 6 months, if not more. And finally it all came together. And I'm just so blessed to have you on the show. And thank you for sharing all this amazing information.
You're so welcome. Do you want to just put our address and website in your notes along with this, or do you want me to give that right now?
If you just send it, because I've already filled this sheet, just send it to make sure so I don't miss it. Because then I can just copy and paste everything that you guys have. Because again, I want to make sure everything's there. And if you'd like to say it over the show, I mean, please share it with people where you guys are located.
We're in Bountiful, just right off the freeway, but it's in this just quiet little place. It's perfect. 750 South Main Street, Suite 101 in Bountiful. So it's just minutes from Salt Lake, and it's a great spot. So we would love to have you call us or text us. Our number is 801-300-9992. And if you remember and use the word recovery, then you can have the free classes on June 8th. Use that as a code, and when you come in, you can get 50% off anything we have except thermography for the day.
Okay, I got it. And I do have that down, but please send it to me just to make sure I have it all down right. Because I have the 50% off, visit free, code recovery, and the classes, 7 classes on June 8th, starting at 10 a.m.
Right.
Okay. Again, Cindy, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your time. And I just want to say thank you to all our listeners, all our guests, all our past guests, guys. Again, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for you. And we're going to leave you with this as we do at the end of every show. Remember, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.